Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Shapiro from Shapiro Holistic Health and Chiropractic in Stockton, California. Today, I wanted to discuss the topic of diabetes. Now, many of you are probably aware that there are multiple types of diabetes. Most people, when they think of diabetes, they typically think of either type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes. What's type 1 diabetes? This is what we call insulin-dependent diabetes. Typically, this sets on early in life, usually in childhood. The trigger for it, most of the time, is either an environmental toxin or a virus that happens to attack a specific part of the pancreas. That part of the pancreas is called the islet cells or the beta cells. These cells manufacture insulin for the benefit of us to be able to utilize blood sugar in the right way. When you destroy those cells, you no longer manufacture insulin, at which point you become insulin dependent if you want to continue to live. Otherwise, without insulin, you'll die very quickly. Thankfully, modern medical science has discovered the solution to this problem in the form of insulin shots. And most people manage their type 1 diabetes quite effectively with lifestyle choices and medical insulin shots. The type of diabetes, unfortunately, that's most common in our modern society is type 2 diabetes. This is also called adult onset diabetes, although that's no longer applying as more and more children are developing type 2 diabetes due to their lack of activity and their high calorie diets. So it's better to call it insulin resistance diabetes. In this situation, the body produces more than enough insulin to handle the incoming carbohydrates and sugar that they're ingesting in their diet. The problem that lies within is that when you overburden your digestive system with too many carbohydrates or too much glucose, which is the scientific name for blood sugar, when you burden it with this blood sugar, your insulin tends to stay chronically elevated. This is like somebody coming to your front door, and knocking on it every 2 seconds. And when you open the door, they have nothing to give you. There's no package, there's nothing. After a while, you're going to stop answering that door. That's what happens inside of us at our cells. Insulin's job is to go knock on the door and unlock the key to allow the package to get delivered. And the package being nutrients or caloric intake in order for metabolism to occur. When you continue to knock on the door over and over again, your body undergoes a process called downregulation. It destroys the receptor sites that respond to insulin. What this means is that the cells no longer respond as well to the insulin. From a medical perspective, the standard of care for this condition are medications that modulate the insulin response. These are things like glucophage, metformin, and glipizide. When those medications no longer work effectively, they will turn to insulin shots. And eventually, you can even become insulin dependent on type 2 diabetes. Now, there is another type of diabetes called type 1.5. And in this situation is where an adult ends up contracting something that destroys the insulin cells in their pancreas, and they develop type 1 diabetes at that point. They call it type 1.5 diabetes. Interestingly, the research that I have come across in my studies recently showed me that there's another type of diabetes called type 3. You know it as Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease, as the scientists are showing, as the science and the research is showing, is a process where the brain starts to lose its ability to absorb glucose. And so one of the solutions to that they're researching right now is they're experimenting with the application of therapeutic ketones, as the brain is like a hybrid engine. It has the ability to burn sugar, and it also has the ability to burn fat in the form of ketones. This is one of the applications that we use extensively in our office. And we use that with these forms of diabetes that have to do with insulin resistance. There are other applications that we utilize in the office to address these particular conditions. never to treat the condition itself, but to treat the individual, to modify their current physiology and to help them to adapt better to the environment around them. I hope you learned a lot today in regards to these particular conditions. If you have additional questions or need more detail, please peruse our website. Reach out to us if you'd like to, and we'll see you in a future video. Thank you.